Alright, so I'm going to explain what occurred last night in Louisiana, which is where I live, but what it seemingly means for the entire country, I guess. The headlines are like, this is a black eye to Trump and all of this because last night we had our gubernatorial election, and the Democrat that was already in office, John Bel Edwards, won re-election against a Republican that spent about over $30 million on his campaign. A lot of it was his own money. And I'm going to explain why this happened. I've already heard the talk amongst the R camp, okay, about, oh, it's because of demographics and all of these things. No, that's not what it is. It's not what it is at all. It's because, and I'm not trying to be rude, I hope you're watching this, Mr. Rispone. You didn't run on anything. You had no campaign. You ran on vote for me because I support the president. That was your entire campaign. And I made a video that I'm about to show you. I made it a few months ago to try to get people to ask these type of questions because there was 2 Republicans for the primaries, and the other one actually probably would have done a better job. Abrams, I think he would have. Because he actually did have policies that he was talking about. But also, let me explain something about John Bel Edwards. He's pro-Second Amendment, and he is anti-abortion. And so in the South, that's almost essentially, that's kind of like, okay, we're good. That's when it's not a huge deal to us. Because I guess he's what you would call like an old-time Democrat. I know it's all confusing these days, but I went and voted for Eddie, but I'm just being honest. You didn't run on a campaign, and this is what's going to happen to anyone else that continues this, because we see what's going on. We see that all we're getting is politicians with empty promises, and so nobody's going out to vote. It's just what it is. I voted last night at a few minutes before the close of the polls, and I saw the list. They have the list of names. It was practically empty. Half of it was empty. You didn't give them a reason to go out and vote. It's the same thing that's going to happen in the presidential election, which at this point, everybody's pretty much saying it doesn't matter. And it doesn't. Your state and local elections do matter more than the presidency, but this is very important for anybody that wants to win anything. You need to follow through on policies. You need to address policies and not make it, I support the president and he doesn't, which I've never heard him say anything about the president. And I'm not taking up for him. I'm not taking up for anybody. I'm just telling you the facts. So let's take a look at the video that I put out a few months ago to kind of give you a warning. I actually even sent it to his social media accounts to say, hey, you might want to do this if you want to win. But he didn't. The ads continued. It was, support me because I support Trump. Trump even came down here 2 times within the last 2 months. That probably made a lot of people suspicious. Why is it so much support? What's going on? Yeah, we got a lot of oil and gas. So it probably made a lot of people suspicious, honestly. Because they see that, Trump ran on non-intervention, yet we have overthrown a couple countries already. We still have all our soldiers deployed. So people are starting to wake up to the lies. And you can't come in at the 12th hour, is it called the 12th hour, the 11th hour, whatever, 23rd hour, and then all of a sudden, oh, no, it's not about red flag laws or whatever, when this entire time you've been pushing red flag laws. So anyway, let's take a look at that video that I did a few months ago, and people really need to address these issues. Like, these are very important issues throughout the country, and these are type of things that people actually care about. It's not just because you have an R or a D next to your name. It's following through. And we're starting to see that nobody's following through with anything. All right. This is to my fellow Louisianians, but everyone is invited to watch because it essentially goes on in all states, and this needs to be heard by everyone. I keep seeing ads because we have a gubernatorial race going on in about a month and a half, and the advertisements that I see either say, vote for me because I stand with Trump, or don't vote for me, or vote for me, I don't stand with Trump. This is ridiculous. Apparently you don't know what office you are running for. Because a governor, because we have a 10th Amendment, is essentially like a president. We have actually more rights to do things in the states than we do at the federal level. But what has happened over the last few decades is governors and senators have given away those rights for comfort, for ease, for whatever the reason. I don't really understand. They've decided to just go with whatever the federal government says. I would imagine a lot of it has to do with money, as I'm going to show you very soon how much we are, especially in my state, how much we are run by the top corporations, how these politicians are paid for, whatever. Too often people have, especially within the last decade or so, people have been swayed by what the nation is doing, worrying about what Alabama is doing with their abortion legislation, or what California is doing with their whatever situation. It has nothing to do with us. Now, if you want to help them do, write up legislation to help them, that's one thing. But to try to protest what's going on in someone's state is ridiculous. We have state governments, local governments, for a very good reason. And if we didn't have those, which is what's kind of going on right now, we would all just have to abide by what the federal government says. See, everyone likes to agree with things like marijuana being legalized in certain states. Okay, well, that's their state, let them do it. But it's still against the law federally. That's how every law is supposed to be. That's the whole point of defined powers. DC, the person that sits in the White House, is only an administrative position to delegate things that have to do with foreign interest and, wars and a few other things. But our local and state legislation is who's supposed to be standing up for what's right for the people of our state. So now let me get back to how Louisiana is one of the richest states, yet the poorest states. We have continued to allow big corporations to come into Louisiana, get subsidized by ITEP and pay no property taxes. Essentially do whatever they want. And then after 10 years, after their ITEP or whatever has expired, they go and change their name and they get to do it again. Not only do we give them that, but we also pay them to come in. Like Walmart, that's the best one that I have. We pay them to come into our communities because, see, it sounds good on the surface because what they do is they promise that they're going to bring jobs to your area. Oh, that sounds amazing, right? Then they come into your area, pay crap wages. Most of the people that work there have to be on some form of government assistance. And in some cases, which has just happened recently here around where I live in Louisiana, they just up and leave. But do you think they paid those corporate subsidies back? My guess is no. But would they leave in their wake? They left closed down pharmacies that were absolutely phenomenal. You know, they know you by your name. They've been there for 30, 40 years. They shut those down. They shut down all the mom and pop stores. But they promised that they were going to bring jobs and that they were going to bring more economy to your city and whatever. But they don't. So why is this going on? I don't have an answer except for the fact that people don't pay attention. Things get pushed through in our state legislation that people don't even know is going on. And we continue to stay poor. And I'm not saying as a person, I'm saying our roads are terrible. They're absolutely horrific. Our education, horrific. Let's go through the numbers. Let's start with corporate subsidies per capita by state. This is all the states. The national average is $209 per resident. But if you look at this line, the one in red, that's Louisiana. $2,857 per resident, whereas our neighbors right there to the west is $87. Why is this? What would cause such a thing? It's called ITEP. It is a subsidy program that is supposed to be used to bring jobs into Louisiana. Unfortunately, it has been abused and essentially rubber stamped everything that goes through. Now, most states have a program like this, but usually there are requirements to be met, as something like you bring in 300 jobs and you will get a certain subsidy or a tax exemption for the first 3 years, or whatever the case may be. We have a very large lobby here in Louisiana that works very closely with these mainly large businesses. They work with the small businesses too, but they act like they do. And they put out this information as if we are ignorant. And I guess to some extent we are. And they put out things like why it matters to ITEP puts Louisiana on the map and brings opportunity and prosperity. They try to tell you that ITEP is a good thing for our community, and it's absolutely false. They have not done a cost-benefit analysis in 82 years. They rubber stamp all of these requests when big oil or big corporations say, hey, I don't want to pay property tax in Louisiana. Rubber stamped. It's passed. And that's all you have to do. And so we're losing $1 billion a year through this.
They won't do a cost-benefit analysis, but many of us have, because the information is public. So let's look at what they're trying to tell us and what is actually the truth. Okay, first they tell us that it attracts businesses to the area. False. 99% of ITEP exemptions go to existing companies that are already up and running here in the state. 814 ITEP exemptions were approved for 76 different businesses from 1998 to 2017. ITEP has played very little role in attracting businesses over the last 20 years. Another thing they want to tell you is it brings jobs to the state. Again, false. 6% of ITEP exemptions have gone to projects that increase production and capacity, but usually that means using robots instead of people, and they've actually lost jobs over the years. Thousands of jobs, but yet they're still getting their millions in tax exemptions. How many millions? How many lost jobs, you ask? Well, let's look at just a few. ExxonMobil, they got 88 ITEP requests. That equaled $349 million. They went down 1,427 jobs. Georgia Pacific, 36 approvals, $203 million they received in tax exemptions. They created 105 jobs, which comes out to $1.9 million per job they created. I highly doubt they're paying their employees $1.9 million, even over 10 years. And that doesn't have to be a high-paying job. It could be a janitorial job or something like that. Then we have Exxon, 129 million, 62 million, 49 million, negative 500 jobs, negative 138 jobs, plus 29 jobs on this one. That equals $1.7 million per job they created. I'm not amazing at math, but that makes no sense. Formosa Plastics, they received $45 million and got rid of 340 jobs. Honeywell International received $42 million, created 9 jobs. $4.6 million per job created. This is just a very small picture at what's going on, because it's many companies, and these companies aren't doing anything illegal. We're allowing this to happen. I mean, I would gander to say that some people are getting paid off to do this, to rubber stamp these, because I don't see any intelligent person saying that this is a good idea. I mean, how much it costs for our schools and our roads, our infrastructure, our police, firefighters, all of these things that these property taxes would go to, because this is property taxes, y'all. This isn't just like a what if type of situation. This is money that they would be paying into property taxes, but yet we still have to pay property taxes. And a lot of people look at this and say, oh, it's gonna lower our property taxes. Honestly, I don't care about that. Even if our property taxes stayed the same, I just feel that they need to be paying their part, because small businesses don't get this. I've talked to many small business owners around my community, and they say absolutely not. And most people don't even think that that's a thing. Whenever you decide to build a business, open a business, you get a loan from the bank or whatever you do, and then you go build your grocery store or whatever kind of store, whatever your business is, and you build it with your money, with the loan that you took out. But that's not what these people are doing. They are using tax exemptions. So technically it doesn't exactly cost because it's not coming from us, although yes, they do receive subsidies. But what it's doing is hurting us in the way that we should be receiving this money to our local governments so we can give teachers raises. Our education system is horrific. We are at the bottom on math scores, reading scores, all of these things. Life expectancy, infant mortality. I mean, I could go on and on. Our schools are in ruins. Some schools are flooding. We have all of these issues. And these big oil corporations act like they are doing us a favor whenever they donate a few packs of paper and some pencils to the school, which it's nice. Yeah, that's nice, okay? But people aren't realizing that they aren't paying property taxes. We also have casinos, and I haven't looked into all of their shady dealings yet, but for a state that has so many things, it is very sad. Louisiana ranks number 2 in the nation in crude oil refining, 25% of the nation's refining capacity. Louisiana ranks number 4 in the nation in natural gas production. Number 3 in the nation in chemical production, 25% of the nation's chemical production. Louisiana is a top 10 oil producing state. Louisiana forms the heart of the nation's pipeline system, with over 112,000 miles of pipeline. World price of natural gas is set in Erath, Louisiana at Henry Hub. Louisiana is at the center of the nation's inland waterway systems. So why would businesses not come here? They're going to come here anyway. Louisiana ranks number 1 in the nation in port tonnage. We have 5 of the nation's 15 busiest U.S. ports are in Louisiana. Louisiana ranks number 1 in the nation in salt production. Essentially, all of Louisiana is a big salt deposit. Louisiana ranks number 2 in the nation in sugar production. We rank number 3 in the nation in rice production. And we also rank number 1 or number 2 in foreign direct investment every year since 2008. Yet Louisiana ranks 49th for poverty. We rank 47th for household income. We rank 47th in food insecurity, meaning many people don't have the money for food. 47th in property crime. 46th in violent crime. 48th in reading scores. I believe it's 50th for math scores. 49th for math scores. And 48th for life expectancy. For a state so rich in natural resources and production, there is absolutely no reason for us to be so poor. One little fact that most people don't even know about is Louisiana has one of the most ancient sites in the United States. It is older than the pyramids in Egypt. It's called Poverty Point, Louisiana. And we also have Walker's Break. There's a lot of heritage, a lot of proud people, a lot of very hard workers, a lot of amazing people. Of course, great food. But we continue to go down this path, it will be our destruction. So contact the people that are running for governor and see what their feelings are about ITEP. Like, share, and subscribe.